Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to discuss about inbound emails in ServiceNow as well as inbound email actions in ServiceNow. So to start with, what is an inbound email means to ServiceNow? So inbound email is nothing but any user who sent in a message, an email message to ServiceNow that called as an inbound email. ServiceNow parses this incoming mail and it may or may not take an action in a response to the mail, the user's mail. Why users will send an email to the ServiceNow system? For example, you have a record, you want to update some information on the record. The easiest way will be to reply to the email, the notification that you have received, so that you are expecting that message will be updated in the ServiceNow record. That's one of the use case. Okay. When the email is received at ServiceNow, how ServiceNow determine what needs to be done through this particular message that's sent by a user. So first it will try to understand the message coming from a user. Is it a new message or a reply to an existing message, or it is a forwarded message from the user? So it will determine based on the type of the email that it is receiving it. Then, if there is an existing record, it try to see associate that existing record with the information that is coming from the email. And then finally, it also try to see to validate the sender. If the user that send that message, is he already in the system in ServiceNow or not? That validations also been taken place. Then the next one that we have here, how ServiceNow parses this information. If you look at how ServiceNow parses this email, it reads the incoming mail and built an object called email. Builds an object called email. For example, when ServiceNow received an email, it looks into who sends that message, who are copied into the message, what is the subject of the message, what is the body of the message, and who is that sender? Is it the sender is already there in the system or not? Based on these checkpoints, it built the email object. If you look at here, the prefix starts with the object called email and the property is to. In this email object for the property to, what it contains? It contains a comma separated list of email addresses in the to and CC fields. To and CCP, who are all the users which are marked in the mail and who actually send that mail. And then the next property in the email object is direct. Contains a comma separated list of email addresses in the to field. Just the to field of the message or mail message. It gets that information and place it in email.direct property. Email.copied contains a comma separated list of email addresses of CC field. What is that? Of the CC field, it reads, for example, in you copied 2 or 3 more emails, that information will be there in the email.copied property, in the email object copied as a property. Then you have email.body text. If you want to read the body of the email, you will be having the body text and email body HTML. Previous property stores that body of the HTML, body of the mail as the plain text, whereas body HTML stores that information as the HTML formatted. And what about that? Next one, email.subject. It contains the email message subject information. Email.recipients contains the comma separate list of all the. So you get to see all these properties of the email will be built by ServiceNow by reading the information from the mail message that you sent. Let's see it how the For example, in this example, you have this mail body, and this is how the service now reads this information, as I said. Email too will consist of both direct and copied user information. Email.subject consists the subject of the mail message. Email.body underscore text stores the body message in a text format, whereas body HTML property stores the email body as HTML format. Then the next one here we have, if you already sent a message where you will get to see that messages in the system. You will get to see those messages in ServiceNow, in inbound, inbound, and in the inbound, let's go this inbound received. Under system mailboxes, inbound received. So these are all the mails that are received today from the external users. From the external users. Let's go ahead. And how do ServiceNow identify the sender? As I said, email.from email object from property stores the information of the sender who sends this message. What exactly it does here is it goes and sees checks or lookups into sysuser table and see if there is any record with the email address that this message has in the from property where this messages came from. If it finds a record in ServiceNow, then it operates or next course of action will be taken on behalf of the user by impersonating that user through the programming script. For example, if the match is not found, if the user is not found in ServiceNow sysuser table, if there is a configuration where system can automatically create a record, if there is a no record matched, if that is enabled, it creates a new record with that email address in sysuser table. Otherwise, it will be operates the updates in a guest user. There will be a guest user. If the system will not be able to find the from email address in the service now and user creation is not checked in, then it operates as a guest user. It operates as a guest user. Then the next topic that we're going to discuss here is the inbound email action. Inbound email action. So you have a message from external user. You will be doing the parsing of the message and you will be doing the checking the from user, whether that user is there or not. The next one is what is in action for this email. The action for this email will be determined by the email actions rules that are we are going to define on a particular table for the particular table. So there are three conditions here. Is the message is what type of a message? Is it a new message? Is it a reply message or it is a forward message? How does system finds out? If you go back to the service now and if you look at the email properties, if you look at the email properties and this email properties here, you get to see identify email as a reply by the subject prefixes. If the subject line have starts with RE or AW or R semi or colon or accepted colon, tentative colon and declined colon, the system understands that this is a reply message. If it is subject line have the prefix of FW colon or FWD colon, then the system understands that it is an forwarded message. Apart from this too, if these two are not available, then that is a new message. Then this is a new message. So system try to understand what type of a message it is. Then second thing is it always try to match that record in ServiceNow system. Is there any record which is with this email account? How does it match? There isn't a watermark on each email address or each email message notification. Based on the watermark, that try to see if there is any record which can be matched. If no watermark been there in the mail record, then it try to see if there is any values in body or subject. From there it can match any record or not. So based on these two mechanisms, ServiceNow tries to see if there is an matched record for the message. Then the third condition is it has to satisfy the condition on the email actions. For example, if the subject contains this, or if it is a mail from this, if you have some conditions, it also needs to be matched to do the operation, to do some action for the message. Okay, let's go to the next one. As I said, how does ServiceNow systems tries to match a record for the message? This is the watermark. If you look at this message, watermarks always been attached at the end of the message. At the end of the message, and based on this unique value, it's try to see, find out an associated record for this message in ServiceNow system. If this is not available, then it try to see based on the information that is available on either on subject or in the body of the mail. In the body of the mail. Then the next one, as I said, conditions. The conditions should always have to result into true. There is simple conditions that you can place, or you can use the server-side script to determine whether you need to process that particular incoming message or not. Then the next one we have here is what is the configuration for creating an inbound email action? So you have to give a name to the inbound email action, and you have to link the inbound email action to a particular specific table. Then you have to select what type of action that you're going to do it, whether you're going to reply to that message or you're going to a record action. So let's go and see what is the configuration for the inbound email action. So since we are going to create this for the needed application, let's open the studio. Let's open the studio and open the needed application and click on new email action. So inbound email action, create new. If we look at this inbound email action, we have to provide a name to this email inbound action, and we also have to link the target table for this email inbound action. Then action type, whether we are going to do an operation on record or we are going to do an reply email kind of a response for the incoming mail, we have to select here. Mostly we will be selecting the record action. Then the next option, you should always ensure that you are making this inbound email action as active. So now we are going to work on a use case where we would like to update the needed overdue records, which in previous case we already sent these notifications by using the events and the notification rule. Right now, when a user replies back to that email notification, we would like to read this notification and update the notification with the message body as in work notes. So let's give a meaningful name as update needed task on reply. Update needed needed task on reply, and this should be operated on needed task table, needed task table, and the action is record action. Let's keep that as same. Let's save this. And the next important thing that we need to understand here is we have three tabs here. The first tab is when to run. So this will determine when this action should be executed. If you look at it, it will be having the type. For which type of messages this notification action, email action should be triggered. Whether it is for the new email or whether it is for the reply email or whether it is for the forward email. In this case, we are configuring this inbound email action for the reply messages. And the next one is an execution order. For example, if you have more than one email action for the needed application, then you have to give the order. Based on this order, the email actions will be executed. If it is matches one executed one email action, then it won't try to execute the other email actions which are created on this table. That's why you're going to give the execution order. Since this is the first email action that we are going to create on needed application, I will be leaving this at 100 and I don't have any required roles. For example, if you're trying to execute this email action, if the sender having any particular role, then you have to mention that role here. For example, if the sender have the ITL role only, then you execute this email action, then that particular case will be achieved by adding the role to here. Then the second case is this email action is only meant for a sender with a particular email address. Then you have to give that email address to this from information. For example, you have an integration with Azure. For every Azure notification that's sent to the ServiceNow, it has to either create an incident. If the incident is already created, it has to update that incident. So what you will be doing, since Azure system have the constant email address, you will be placing the email address here so that when the messages came from this email address, a particular email action will be executed. And you have any conditions, then you will be using this condition. The condition that we have here is if the subject has previously what notifications that we are sending here. Let's go here. See notification. This is the notification that we are triggering if if the needed task is overdue. What is the subject that we are keeping here? We are keeping the subject of this message as we are keeping the subject of this message as overdue overdue needed task. This is the one. So if an incoming email has a subject as this, then we want to trigger. How can we read the incoming message? If we look at the PPT, we discussed how the ServiceNow reads the or process the incoming mail. If you look at this email.subject, it will be having the subject of the incoming mail. So we will be using the same property in our email inbound action. Let's go to the studio. Here, email.subject. Let's use index of single quotes. If it is finds this greater than or equal to 0, then we would like to execute this email action. Let's save this. So the index method, if you pass the any string, if it has that string, it returns the positive number. If it doesn't find it, it returns the negative number. So we have given greater than 0. If it is already there in the subject, then this returns greater than 0, so it will execute. Then what action that we are doing here, if you want to set a field names, for example, short description, you want to set needed short description to an incoming email body, then you can do it. But what is our case? We want to update the work notes of it. So current dot work notes current.work notes equal to email dot text. Email dot body text. That's what I would like to update. The text of the incoming email should be goes to the current record, the needed record, work notes, and don't forget to update the record. Don't forget to update the record. Let's save this. So right now with the email action, we have configured in a such a way on which table that this incoming mail should take place and what operation it has to perform, that is record action, and when it should be executed when the subject have this overdue needed task for the reply emails, and what action it should do, it should update the work notes for the incoming email. So before you are going to test this, you need to first check the email properties that are on your system. Email properties. Ensure that you have the email sending and email receiving is enabled. In this case, for the inbound, we have to enable this email receiving should be enabled. And as I discussed in the one of the slide, where how the ServiceNow finds out the sender. If the sender is matched, it will operate impersonating that user. If it is not there, then it tries to create. If the option is enabled, this is an option. If this is an option is enabled, then it will create an user. If this is not no, then it operates as a guest. The second one is what type of domains, email domains it has to trust. Right now, I'm replying through my Gmail account, or you might doing that for your Outlook, or someone might do from something else. Then their domains need to be open for this operation. If you don't have, if you have star, that means that it operates or it allows all the domains to all the domain emails to send to ServiceNow. For example, you are working for ServiceNow, then it should have the domain as servicenow.com. Or if you are working for Accenture, accenture.com. Or if you are working for TCS, tcs.com, something like that. So these configurations you should have an understanding of it. If you are not selected this, it won't work in your ServiceNow instance. And the second one, you have to understand the email accounts in ServiceNow. Email accounts in ServiceNow. To read the messages, you must have the POP3 account. I have created two more previous accounts, two more previous videos, how you can create your POP3 account by using your Gmail account that I have created a video. If you haven't looked at, please go and watch that video. Right now, which email address that I am using for the POP3, this is my email address. If I send an email to this email address, it reads this information as an inbound email. Okay. So that's the prerequisites that you have to test before doing the testing for it. Then the next one we are saying that we already sent a notifications to the to the overdue needed records. So if you haven't covered the previous session, we sent a notifications by using the schedule jobs to the people who are assigned to it. For example, let's go to the needed task. If you look at this needed tasks, so these are all the overdue records. It has to be completed on this month 6th, this month 1st and 20th. Right now we are almost in end of the September. So these are all the overdue records, and this is the users that they will getting notified. I've configured my email address to the Fred Ludi, and I already have the emails received in my email box. Emails received in my email box. So let's go here, click on Gmail, click on Gmail. So this is the one of the record where I received as saying that boss, your needed record been already been overdue. Let's go here, search for this record in ServiceNow. and there is a space. Search for this record, and this record is assigned to the email account that I have used. Just open this user record. So if you look at it, this particular Fred Ludi user account is a Gmail account that I have configured. So it will send the notification to this email box. Now I'm going to respond to this email address by replying back saying that I'm going to work on this task and complete it by tomorrow. So once I send this information, then our email action will come into picture, the one that we have created. And this email action will be looks for the needed table, and if it is a type of reply, and if the subject consists of overdue needed tasks, then this email action process it. And what it does, it updates the record by having the body text being updated as the work notes of this record. Before doing that, we have to first see whether that email is received at ServiceNow or not. How do you check that? You go to the system emails and there will be an received to the mailbox. Let's go here, system mailbox, system mailbox, and here you have an option called received. And the received, it will be showing up if the message is reached successfully here. Give it a moment and refresh it. Yeah, it is reached, and you could see that the state here, it is processed. That means that the record is processed. What is that record? Ends with 140. Ends with 140. Let's go here and see if I have the activities been updated here. See this activity been updated as a Fred Ludi just now. The body of the email been updated as one of the work notes here. The text of this body been updated here in the work notes. Let's go here and see re-verify what we have done. So the email body is been updated as the work notes of it. That's a use case of it.